Welcome to our channel BK Video Diary. Here we are going to discuss about software versioning control system. In software engineering, version control, also known as revision control, source control, or source code management, is a class of systems responsible for managing changes to computer programs, documents, large websites, or other collections of information. Version control is a component of software configuration management. What is version control? Version control, also known as source control, is the best practice for maintaining, tracking and managing changes to software code. Version control systems are software tools that help software teams manage changes to source code over time. As development environments have accelerated, version control systems help software teams work faster and smarter. They are especially useful for DevOps teams since they help them to reduce development time and increase successful deployments. Now we can see what are the benefits of software version control. 1. History. History provide the timeline of each changes on the repository date and time history. 2. Tracking. Tracking helps which developer made changes and what changes was done on the source code files. 3. Restoration. If there was any change that need to be revert to previous state or any older version of state, that can be done easily restoration. 4. Collaboration. Source code collaboration helps to integrate developers team to merge their source code into single project. 5. Identity. Identity is one of the main feature that provides authentication and authorization of developers. 6. Reduction of duplication and errors. It reduces times and reduces developer repeatable errors. 7. Security and compliance. Security is the one of the main factor that usage of software versioning control system. There is different type of tools and compliance standards are available based on the vendor and its company standards. 8. Efficiency. Using software versioning control is the one of the efficient way that managing source code of the project. Next we can discuss about what are the type of the versioning control system. There are two types. 1. Centralized version control. 2. Distributed version control. Now we can discuss about centralized version control system with more details. A centralized version control system works on a client-server model. There is a single, centralized, master copy of the codebase, and pieces of the code that are being worked on are typically locked, or checked out, so that only one developer is allowed to work on that part of the code at any one time. Access to the codebase and the locking is controlled by the server. When the developer checks their code back in, the lock is released so it's available for others to check out. The following diagram would assist to understand how the centralized versioning control system works. How the developer commit his source code from workstations into centralized server and updating. Next we can discuss about distributed version control system with detailed information. Distributed version control systems work on a peer-to-peer model. The code base is distributed amongst the individual developers' computers. The entire history of the code is mirrored on each system. There is still a master copy of the codebase, but it's kept on a client machine rather than a server. There is no locking of parts of the code. Developers make changes in their local copy and then, once they're ready to integrate their changes into the master copy, they issue a request to the owner of the master copy to merge their changes into the master copy. The following diagram would assist to understand the distributed versioning control system. The developer committing source code within his workstation and there is no locking system within workstations N with distributed version control system. Now we can discuss about what are the advantages of the centralized versioning control system. 1. Maintain source code copies centrally and avoid manually keep local copies of revisions. 2. Check in your latest changes to the central system. Immediately see everyone else's changes on the project. 3. You can always update to the latest working files. 4. Easy to collaborate in a team. 5. Ability to tag and branch on a project. Now we can list some of the disadvantages of centralized version control system. 1. Single point of failure. If the central server repository is not available, no one can pull down changes or commit their version changes. 2. Backup failure makes risk of losing everything. If backups are not regularly kept or when the server data corrupts, you could lose your entire repository of revisions. 3. Network bandwidth consideration. When large size of code committing over your changes into centralized server and multiple events makes slowness of the server. 4. Sometimes difficult to resolve conflicts or merging and reconciling changes from other branches. Next we can discuss that what are the advantages of distributed version control systems. 1. Saving source code locally faster than central version control system, because you are storing changes to your local hard drive rather than to a remote server. 2. Focuses on sharing changes. 3. Committing changes are done locally, so no one can see these changes unless you are ready to push them back to server. 4. You can work offline and only push and pull changes when you have an established internet connection. 5. Easy to branch and merge changes. 6. All cloned clients are essentially a full backup of the full project. Let us discuss about disadvantages of distributed version control systems. 1. Steep learning curve for newcomers. 2. If the project is very large with a long history, cloning the project can take an impractical amount of time and disk space. There are some popular tools are available on the market and internet portal. 2 types of tools, one is open source and another one is proprietary on each centralized version control system and distributed version control system. Few popular tools can be listed here. Open source under client-server model. Concurrent version systems, CVS. Subversion, SVN. Under proprietary. IBM Configuration Management Version Control. Vault. Visual SourceSafe. Surround SCM. PVCS. Next we can the popular tools under distributed model. Under open source. DCVS. Git. Mercurial. Under proprietary there are few popular tools. Code Co-op. Sun Workshop Teamware. Plastic SCM. At last we can discuss AOBIP. What are the possible interview questions related to software versioning control system? We will discuss one by one. 1. What is software versioning control? 2. Benefits of the software versioning control. 3. Types of the version controls. 4. What is centralized model or client-server model version control? 5. What is distributed version control? 6. What is the difference between centralized and distributed?